1 hour or thereabouts. My delegation and I has been in some consultations with the Secretary General of the African Continental Free Trade Area with the sole objective of what customs can do to advance the cause of continental integration, to advance the cause of increasing intra-African trade, and ultimately use trade to bring economic prosperity to our people and for the economic development of our continent. I must first appreciate the remarkable assistance that we have gotten from the Secretariat, the SG and his team for the support that they have given to the Customs Pact initiative. The Customs Pact simply stands for Partnership for Cooperation in African Trade. This is initiative which has been put together to bring all heads of customs in Africa under one roof with the economic operators, the regulators, and other partners to see what we can do, address the challenges levitating against African trade and march forwards. So we also want to appreciate the fact that the Secretariat has been very, very helpful in mobilizing these partners, the African customs, economic operators. We've had a concept note circulated from the Secretariat. We've had a series of engagements or meetings, and we now have something, a clear direction in which we want to go during the meeting in Abuja on the 17th of November. Most importantly, we also had discussions centering around the fact that customs now need to take the front role in addressing the issue of deficiencies in our trade data across the continent. This is a challenge that I have accepted to play working with other colleagues. And secondly, the existing structure which the Secretariat has created, bringing together all heads of customs administration, also needed to be strengthened so that once we institutionalize Customs Pact, we will be able to situate it and let it operate within the existing structure which the Secretariat has created. So this has been the discussions, and it's my pleasure to, on behalf of my delegation, express our sincere gratitude to the SG and members of the Secretariat for the encouragement, for the support that we have received in this initiative. Thank you.
We had, as CG said, a very productive meeting, and the objective is a singular objective, and that is boosting intra-Africa trade and enabling economic growth of our continent through trade, and trade being one of the drivers of Africa's development. And so the partnership that exists, the structure that exists, all of these initiatives are aimed at boosting intra-Africa trade. The implementation of the AfCFTA is not for ministers of trade, for the Secretariat, for the private sector, individually and alone. It is a collective responsibility for all of us, including the private sector, and that's why this the pact is important, and that's why this partnership is very, very important. And so we look forward to a substantively meaningful dialogue that will be sustainable, that will find solutions to the challenges that we will be experiencing as we implement the agreement, because we know there will be challenges. And as I said in our private meeting, customs authorities are at the heart of implementation of the AfCFTA. So it is expected that we collaborate for implementation. And finally, I would just note that our heads of states, the Assembly of Heads of States and Government of the African Union, enjoins us and directs us to work together to ensure that this once-in-a-lifetime opportunity that is presented by the AfCFTA, that it becomes a reality in our lifetime. And so we are very committed to the partnership, and we look forward to working with our heads of customs.
Yes.
One of the areas the CG mentioned, and that is statistics gathering and data collection. We, as a secretariat, are not in every country, obviously. We are only here in Accra. And so the challenge of data gathering requires that we work together with customs authorities throughout the continent as we collect data, so that we know exactly where we are making a difference and exactly where we are making, where there continues to be a challenge, so that we can confront that challenge together. Data gathering, statistics gathering will enable us to know with a high degree of certainty what is the true percentage of intra-Africa trade, and what other measures do we still have to take to improve intra-Africa trade. Is intra-Africa trade constrained by the lack of an interoperable continental payment system? We don't know that for a fact. It's only conjecture that we express. What is the contribution of the services sector vis-a-vis trade in goods? All of that data is absolutely critical as we implement the AfCFTA, and it will require that we work with customs authorities. And so we have agreed that we will establish a subcommittee or a committee which will be tasked with looking into this very, very important aspect of Africa's trade, and that is reflecting exactly the percentage of trade in Africa. The second point that is also important, which will be on our agenda, is engaging the private sector, not just in an ad hoc way, but having a structured, properly formulated relationship with the private sector and our customs authorities, the AfCFTA Secretariat, member states of the African Union, to make sure that once again we implement the agreement together, we confront the challenges together, so that we can make the difference that all of us want to see.
I would like to know, can you give us an trading partners for Nigeria with the US, China, and all of those? What are some of the bottlenecks, and going forward, what should we do?
In Nigeria, because according to the Nigerian Bureau of Statistics, as of 2024, the number one export destination for Nigeria is now Africa. This is according to the Nigerian Bureau of Statistics. It is no longer other parts of the world. The largest export destination now for Nigeria as of 2024 is the continent of Africa. And that is very encouraging, and it's pointing in the right direction. Second, according to Afreximbank, in the year 2023, there were the recorded amount for intra-Africa trade was $220 billion. Again, pointing to the right direction that all of us should be heading towards. However, the underlying point you make is absolutely correct, and we discussed it in our meeting, and that is that there are still challenges that remain. The cost of transport and logistics, the cost of infrastructure, the infrastructure deficit, which AFDB estimates it to be over $150 billion annually. The cost of currency convertibility, which of course now with the Pan-African payment and settlement system, we are well poised to overcome that challenge. But if you have to buy the dollar, you are in Ghana and you are trading with your counterparty in Nigeria, if you have to buy the dollar, that adds to the cost of trade and that constrains trade. So we, working with AfriximBank, introduced the Pan-African payment and settlement system, in terms of which I live in Ghana, my trading partner is in Nigeria, I trade in Ghanaian cedi, my counterparty in Nigeria trades in the Naira for the same transaction. These are some of the constraints that intra-Africa trade confronts, which are, of course, outside of our mandate as we sit in this room. However, they have an impact on the flow of goods and services across our continent. So we have committed that we're going to work together to, where there are things within our mandate, to immediately deal with those challenges within our mandate. Where they relate to a third party, for example, AfriximBank, AFDB, if it has got to do with border hard infrastructure, then we have to jointly encourage our partner to make the appropriate interventions. So I think whilst we have made progress over the last 5 years, however, the challenges remain. Some of the challenges are within our control, our mandate. Some fall outside of our mandate, but have a direct impact on trade. But I am very encouraged by the statistics that were released by the Nigerian Bureau of Statistics, at least in relation to Nigeria, Africa's largest economy, because it points to the importance of opening the continent for all countries to benefit from this market of 1.4 billion people.
Most of the people who are doing this export business in Nigeria are small-scale enterprises. They are, and what we have tried to do in the customs is to make sure that we bring them closer to ourselves. We have specialized programs for them. When we started the Authorized Economic Operator Program, we make sure that we admitted quite a number of them, because AEO is about managing compliance. And we want to say that as the companies are still very, very small, we want them to really, really imbibe the spirit of compliance, so that when they scale up, it will be easier for us to manage their bigger volume. So they are doing well. 2 of our pilot economic operator AEO beneficiaries are these exporters. One of them, a woman who does bags and then exports them to some other African countries, and another one that deals with hibiscus flower and then send them to Southern Africa and some other places. So we are very intentional in ensuring that we get these people closer to us, work with them so that they can takes maximum benefit from intra-African trade.
Okay, so technology has been identified.
Agreed on certificates of origin that are electronic, digitalized, so that economic operators can have ease of access to the documentation that they require. As you know, in some countries, the designated authorities is the Chamber of Commerce. In others, it's ministries of trade who issue the certificates of origin. But that process must be digitized, and that is something that we will work together on. Second, I've mentioned payments, a digital payment system that is now that is live. There are over 150 commercial banks that are trading on PAPS, the Pan-African Payment and Settlement System, and over 20 central banks that have also granted approval for their commercial banks to be part of the system of PAPS. The original pilot countries were Ghana and Nigeria as we were rolling out PAPS. So these are some of the initiatives that we have undertaken to digitize trade. Soon we will introduce, which has been approved also by the customs authorities. In due course, we will establish a continental platform for sharing of information, again using digital technologies. So it is at the fore of deploying digital technology is at the fore of our strategy for implementation of the AfCFTA.
I think what you can add to that, I mean, talking about technology, use of single window. So many customs administrations have embraced the use of single window. We are at the final stage of the deployment of national single window for trade in Nigeria, and we're hoping that by Q1 2026, we are going to start the full deployment of the national single window, which is currently being tested in Nigeria. So the president is really very committed to it. He chairs the steering committee, and all the agencies that are involved, particularly those that are operating within the trade domain, are also, taking on necessary measures to get hooked up to the national single window.